Heya, juliusxx here. So I frickin' bought a Tesla.
Stereo.
So a little bit of background before I get into the reasons why I bought a Tesla and why I think you should buy one too is, well, I wanted one for a long while. I've had friends always asking me what I thought about Teslas. We would always talk about the different technology that's involved with these cars, what the future is like for EVs. And I've always been kind of wanting a hatchback again because one of my favorite shapes of cars was a hatchback. And there are rumors that the Model 2 has already started going into production, and I kept thinking, oh, maybe I'll just wait for a Model 2 and that'll be great because it's also a more budget-friendly Tesla. But ultimately, I went ahead and just freaking did it. I got a Tesla Model 3. So far, it's been a crazy experience, and I've had a fair share of experience with cars. This Tesla Model 3 is my first EV vehicle, and it's really been like night and day going from 4 or 5 ICE vehicles. My first car was a nasty-ass blue Mazda 3. Then I went to a 2012 Mazda 3, the hatchback, which I think still is one of my favorite cars to date. Then a 2017 Mazda 3 sedan. And then I went over to Audi and I got an Audi A3, and then recently this Tesla Model 3. So I guess I keep getting cars that have the 3 in it. The only one that I'm missing is a 3 Series and maybe a Chrysler 300. But that's been my history with cars. So how did I get to this point? How did I end up buying a Tesla, and what were the reasons why I got there? Here are 5 reasons why I bought a Tesla and maybe why you should buy one too. So the first reason why I bought a Tesla is because the technology is really impressive. It's like going from a flip phone to a smartphone. And honestly, it's like from every other car that I've driven in the past, it's kind of like night and day, technologically speaking. A few big things that I would be worried about missing when I got into a Tesla was the lack of Android Auto or the lack of Apple CarPlay. Honestly, that fear was unfounded, and that fear like melted away in like a day or two. The technology on the Teslas is just freaking insane. So when it comes to the technology, the key is ridiculous. The different features you can have, the customization is insane. Why don't I just let Outside Julius show you? So, I'm not going to walk you through all the different technological features of a Tesla because you can watch Tesla technology overview videos elsewhere on YouTube or on the internet, but I want to focus mainly on the technological things that really entice me about the Model 3 and Teslas in general. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the actual key. Well, I mean, actually the lack thereof. So with Teslas, there's no physical, actual hard metal key. It's instead just a card like this, but also to get the car started, if you have the key, you have to place it on this little area down here. And once you place it there, you're good to go. Like, I guess it makes like connections or something with the car, and then it makes it so that it's on. I don't know what the technology or the actual science behind it is, but there's that. But the other option is I don't really use the key that much. I just keep it in my wallet as a backup. But the other cool thing is that you can use your phone as a key because it has Bluetooth. So let me just show you how that works in a second. So I'm done driving around. I'm going to get out of my car. And as soon as I get out of my car and make an actual like specific distance away from it, it'll lock on its own. Anytime now. So there. And it has a little bit of a little beep once you walk away. And when you get close to it, I guess because of the proximity, again, phone in hand, it just unlocks on its own. And that's probably one of my top favorite features of a Tesla, because you don't have to actually carry around physical keys, and I kind of hate physical keys. Originally, I thought it was going to be really, really difficult to get used to the lack of a actual console in front, but after like a day or two, I kind of just really, I fell in love with this screen and the way things are set up. You can see your dash, your maps are here. This area here is like your, I don't know, we call it like a cockpit or something, but you could see where when you're driving, it like transforms into this overhead view of the car, and people are walking by, and then you can see that it's telling me to stop because they're close by, but it'll pick up pedestrians, it'll pick up other cars. There you can see them in the distance, which I think is really neat. And so I'm gonna just go into park so that stuff doesn't pop up anymore. My other favorite feature about the Teslas is that Spotify is built in. So if you pay for the premium connectivity, you get Spotify actually built into the car. So you can say voice commands, you can access all of your music. This is all the different cameras around. The car has a bunch of different, sorry if it's all gross and nasty with the fingerprints, but the car has a bunch of sensors all over the car, which on the left side, the right side, the front, and the back. Also, when you're not in the car, you can record. There's a thing called Sentry Mode where people get close to your car, the cameras will turn on and start recording to make sure that nothing foul happens. So that's really cool. And there's been a new add-on to the car where you can actually see your car's cameras from afar. I'll show you guys that later in a second. But it's cool that if you're in a bad neighborhood or something and you're kind of wigged out about people around your car, you can check to make sure there's no one around there before you get to your car, which I think is cool. Wipers are here. You can change the phone features to say ahoy hoy instead of call if you hold down on it. I'm not going to turn it off because I like how it says ahoy hoy, so I'm going to leave it. Calendar. Here you can see actually it's linked to your iPhone or your Google calendars, so you can see all of your events. That's freaking cool. Energy. You can see how you actually drive and how you're consuming your battery. Charging. When you click on this, it just gives you an overview of like the different charging options you have. I won't go into too much detail for that. Web, you can go in the web browser. Anything on the internet you can do. I don't really think it's the fastest or the best browser, but I mean you can still do it if you'd like. I was looking up something on Wikipedia the other day that stays in the background. And then some of my other favorite features are these. There's a bunch of games you can play. I don't really play any of the games, but so that's not really a favorite technological thing of mine. But I really like the different theater options. You can watch YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Twitch, and Tesla tutorials. And you're probably wondering, why would you ever have to do that in a car? You can just use your phone. My dude, when you're like waiting for somebody, or you get somewhere early, or you're just kind of trying to kill some time, watching Netflix or watching YouTube on your car on a big screen versus having to hold it up in front of your face, that's definitely a lot more engaging and a lot more immersive than actually holding your phone. So I think that's really fun to do. Let's see. So voila, YouTube is up here. You can see all of my previously viewed videos, what's in the news, things I've watched before. Like, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite features. The $10 I pay a month just to have this connectivity, I think it's really cool because yeah, it's much more immersive if I'm sitting in my car having to wait for something, or I'm parked somewhere that I know I'm going to be there for a while. I can pop on a video for 10-15 minutes, watch something fully immersed versus having to hold my phone to watch it. It's a little bit of a luxury, I guess you could say, versus just using your phone, but I kind of cannot do without it at this point. I'm going to go into a little bit of the toy box now, which is kind of the most random things you'll see. They're like, it's kind of like just a bunch of Easter eggs. I'll quickly go through. Boombox, you could change their horn sound. Right now it's set to a air horn. I won't preview it now because somebody's walking, but I'll do it in a second. But you can change your actual honk to be the sound of an air horn. Let me just wait till this woman walks past me. Well, I can just preview it. I don't have to actually do it, but so I think it actually did play outside because I have speakers on the outside of the car, but that lady turned and she heard it. So, but you can do that. So sometimes I'll be driving on the road and I'll honk at somebody and I totally forgot that my air horn is on, but I guess it makes light of actual honking at people, so you don't get shot here in LA because that shit does actually happen. Emissions, this is a random one, but if someone sits down in a certain seat in the car, it'll make a fart noise. Tracks, I haven't actually used this yet. You can make your own music. Romance mode, it turns this whole thing into a fireplace. It turns the actual heaters on, so that's pretty much a vibe here in like the winter season and fall season. Sketchpad, you can draw stuff. Mars, it turns your whole map into the surface of Mars. Santa, during the holidays, you can play Jingle All the Way outside of the speakers, and then also spread cheer. And then I guess Rainbow Road. This would be cool during Pride to make your whole navigation to be a rainbow. I don't know what else technologically to talk about, but there's something else here. Like, you're probably wondering, God, Julius, your screen is disgusting. Can you please clean it? There's a cleaning mode here. Let me just find that display. And so there's something called screen clean mode. So when I hit that, everything turns black, which will allow me now to clean the screen, which I'll do. Cause yeah, you're probably wondering how the fingerprintness of it is. It is really kind of a fingerprint magnet. If you get a screen protector, that's not really going to help. That still picks up gunk. But once everything is good to go and you're happy and satisfied, you can hit this, hold to exit, and then you're back. And so if you're wondering about anything else technologically, what else I love about this is the actual like air conditioning. It's really cool that you can pick and choose which direction the air points at. Sometimes I don't like hitting me right in the face. I want to kind of have it spread out a little bit up so it hits my hair or something. You can do that. There's a dog mode, so I don't have a dog, but if you have a dog in the car, it'll allow you to put on the AC, I think, a little bit lightly and open the windows for the dog as well. I'll talk about driving options in a second. This is probably one of my favorite features, regenerative braking, which allows you to pretty much have single pedal driving. And what that means is when you have this option on, when you let your foot off of the accelerator, it comes to a brake automatically. It's not really like it's not very instant. It's like a little bit of a crawl to a stop. Sometimes it could be a little bit abrupt, but what that does is it gives a little bit of battery back into the car whenever you use that option versus the manual braking. And honestly, I've been on certain trips where I am literally not touching the brake whatsoever. And I think if I'm ever to rent a new car or a different car that is an ICE, or like borrow a friend's car that's an ICE, retraining my brain to learn how to brake manually is going to be a little bit of a tough thing, but whatever, it is what it is. But I love that. I love how that option is there. Honestly, I never truly understood the true value of the Tesla's technology. And whenever people that had them or been in them would tell me about the technology, I would kind of just scoff at it and be like, it can't be that dope. But honestly, there's always new features that are rolling out to the car. I think I mentioned earlier the new feature, Enhanced Sentry Mode, where you can see your actual car cameras from afar. I'll do that actually in a sec to show you. That feature just kind of blew my mind, that kind of added security to your car. But everything technologically about the Teslas, it's kind of surprised me that it's taken me this long to get into, just because I'm a huge fan of technology and things pushing the envelope and challenging the status quo. And having this Tesla now for about a month, I really truly understand the value. And because updates are constantly rolling out, it's only going to continue to get better. And that's kind of really hit me, because story time, and if you don't want to listen to this story, please fast forward. But I was in a car once with my cousin, my older cousin, and he was talking to me about Teslas and how, like, Teslas, you can always update the car over Wi-Fi and it's always going to improve over time. You buy the car, it'll be hypothetically good for like 4 or 5 years because of all the technology updates. And being kind of on the younger side at that time mentally, I kept telling him, oh, that's dumb. I want to get so-and-so car because I love that brand. It's the brand that did this, the brand that did that. And he just kind of kept questioning me, like, why do I want to spend my money on that? That's not a tangible thing. Like, you're kind of, those things will get outdated quickly. The technology in a Tesla, it's second to none. And I think he's actually thinking about getting a Tesla now, I heard recently. But that story now really kind of hits me differently. It hits different because I get it now. I get what he was talking about. Like, I don't, it's hard to put into words, but just, I can't imagine going back to a regular car now that doesn't have those type of technological advancements like a Tesla has. Wow, I just kind of think back to that conversation I had with him sometimes and just kind of laugh at myself, thinking just how naive I guess I was being, because you spend a certain amount of money on a car, you hopefully that it'll do all these cool things for you with the money you're spending, and I am happy with what I get with my Tesla so far. But let me show you that cool Sentry Mode option now. Okay, so I moved away from my car a little bit, and I'm gonna go into my phone security mode. And okay, so I guess it's just called Sentry Mode View Live Camera. But when you click on this, so you can see the front camera, the side camera, the right camera. Oh look, there I am. And then the back camera. And then if, like, let's say someone's being weird around your car, you can hold this and say, "Ma'am, this is a Wendy's." I don't know why that's so funny, but, and the voice is distorted and weird sounding. "You have 20 seconds to comply." It's like we're living in the year 2031, bro. It's just really, really fascinating. And as you can see from outside, Julius, Teslas they pretty much kind of, for me at least, revolutionize the way in which people interact with their cars, and they've rethought the whole layout. So, like, I don't miss anything with regards to a main dashboard or console. Like, I'm just all bought into the touchscreen, and I think I got used to it after like a day or two. And I did mention it in my B-roll or outside footage, but everything is handled by your actual phone. So when you have your phone, you can open it up and you can control the locks on it. You can see what the battery is like. You can change some of the settings. You can get service. You can go shopping. You get features and different types of upgrades, all from the device itself. And that's just, I don't know, it's like we're living in the year 2031 with this car. The technology is insane. And so if you are a lover of technology and if you want valuable technology for the future, definitely consider getting a Tesla. The second reason why I bought a Tesla is because I'm excited about full self-driving and even autopilot. And to be clear, right now the full self-driving is still in beta mode, but I want to get involved really early just to see what the technology is all about. And honestly, outside, Julius will show you the footage of how Autopilot works, but the first time I ever used it, it was exhilarating. Just having the car take control was really, really just insane. Insofar, I've owned the car for about a month. I think the technology and the auto driving functionality has made me fall in love with driving again. Like, I haven't felt this way about driving ever since maybe I first bought a car. It's really just kind of opened up everything up for me, and I think the future of full self-driving and autopilot is really, really getting much more close than we think. I just kind of want to quickly talk about autopilot, which really is really helpful when you're on a long drive and there are long stretches of road where you just kind of want to take a step back and let the car take control. My only experience with autopilot was quite literally this car. I never really looked it up before. I never understood what it really did. I thought it was just like some sort of kind of cruise control, but in reality what it is the cameras and the sensors, whenever they can see the lines on the side, that means you can engage with autopilot. And sometimes once the steering wheel pops up, that means you could do it. So when you hit down 2 times on the stick, I forgot what it's called, that engages autopilot. So right now, it will continue to go straight within those blue lines because it sees those lines. I'm literally not doing anything right now. The car's just driving itself. It'll brake on its own. It'll brake on its own. It will accelerate on its own. It'll do all that stuff, but it still requires you to have your hands on the steering wheel. Like right now, it's braking on its own. I'm not doing anything. It's really cool of a feature when like there's long stretches of driving, which is what I mainly use it for. I don't usually use it on the side roads like this. I prefer to drive on my own. But when there's like 20 miles of just going straight, not having to do anything, just go straight, it helps with solving like the driving fatigue. There have been times where I've been driving from like, see, it's accelerating on its own. There have been times I've been driving from LA to Pasadena and I don't feel like driving the whole way. I'll engage autopilot half of the way, and like by the time I get to Pasadena, I'm jazzed. I'm ready to go. Let me see what's gonna happen here because of the bus and this car. Oh, I didn't like that, so I disengaged autopilot. But so right now it's my driving again, but just like autopilot's really cool. I don't have the full self-driving functionality yet. It's $10,000 as we speak, or you can pay $200 a month. I think the only value in getting that, you're doing a lot of driving in a month, and then you want to do a lot of self-driving, because in all honesty, a freaking Lyft or a Uber ride is like $80 like the whole night. If you're gonna spend a night going from Santa Monica to downtown LA, you're gonna be paying an arm and a leg, and for $200 a month, that's a really good deal. I'll have to still think about it, but that's in the future. And honestly, I just want to get in on it early. So I know the way in which we interact with our cars is changing. I don't think I'll ever stop wanting to drive completely, but there are days in which I'm pretty exhausted and don't want to have to deal with the mental fatigue of a drive. That autopilot has helped me. So I think with full self-driving on the horizon, I wanted to get in on it early just so that I understood what the future is like. So if you are interested in the value of autopilot and full self-driving, you should probably consider getting a Tesla. The third reason why I bought a Tesla is because I'm a sucker for design. There have actually been a few times, I'm an iOS guy, like hands down, Apple Watch, iPad, all that stuff. But there have been some times where I wanted to buy an Android device just because of the design. Like I dabbled with the Galaxy Fold for a little bit and Galaxy Flip for a little bit just because I'm intrigued by the design. Ultimately, the operating system couldn't hold me over, but I like to get things when they're well designed and look really pretty. And the Teslas are no exception. Like here in California and LA, they're really abundant. I think out of every 10 cars, at least one's a Tesla. So I'm always looking at them. I'm always impressed by what they've done from a design perspective, especially that full glass roof. Oh my god, that is just it's so great to look at. When you have an idea of EVs, before Teslas came around, they looked like Priuses and like the BMW i5 and stuff, like just weird looking. I don't even know what they look like, robots or something. But when it comes to Teslas, they found a really great line between luxury as well as futuristic design, and every time I see one, I stop to look at it. And that's no different with even just whenever I walk away from my car. I've noticed that I'm looking back at it much more often than I did with my Mazda and my Audi, and like just the design of it is really, really splendid. So if you are a fan of great design and you want your technology and your devices and everything else of yours to look primo, yeah, get a Tesla. The fourth reason why I bought a Tesla is because there's easy access to superchargers and charging at home. This is probably one of the biggest things that I was concerned about when I decided to get one, is how am I going to charge it? I don't live in a house, so I can't really exactly get it installed, but thankfully in my building they have chargers in the garage. The supercharger network is expanding. But just to kind of give you an idea of what it's like, on the actual screen itself, there's an option to find superchargers. So right now it's pulling up the closest superchargers to me. The closest one is in Torrance, because right now I'm in Palos Verdes. So let me put that into the map, and then let's see what the supercharging experience is like. So let's go. It's in a weird area, but let's go check it out. There's a sign there, so we go that way. And yeah, so I don't need to charge today because I've already got battery in my car, but as you can see, they're all readily available. There's a bunch of them. Let me find a good spot. I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are just plugged in and charging while they're in the mall, which is kind of cool. But the charging network here is very, very abundant, so I'm never really too far from a charger. If you have easy access to a charging network, or you live in a house where you can just you can install a charger for yourself, then yeah, that's a great reason to get a Tesla. And the last reason why I bought a Tesla, and everyone's mileage may vary, but it's because the timing felt right. So the pandemic has changed a lot in our society, in our world right now. And one of the things that has been impacting is the cost of used vehicles. Right now, in addition to it being an employees market, it's also a used car owners market. Like cars, there's a huge shortage of used cars right now, and there's also like difficulties in production of creating new cars because of shortages with chips and all these other resources. So right now it felt right for me. So during the pandemic, and actually I own two cars now. I had the Audi A3 and I had now the Tesla Model 3. But my Mazda, which I had previously, when I sold it, they paid me $1,000 on top. And then when I sold my Audi, they paid me $500 on top. So everything just kind of worked out when it came to me upgrading my cars, I guess. I also started a new job and there's a new salary, and everything just felt right. Everything was coming together for me to finally do it. So it just felt right. The cost of it, the like trading in my cars, I was never upside down whenever I would sell my cars, and the pandemic has showed that right now it's a used buyer's market or used car owners market. So if the timing is right for you and all the stars are aligning and you can afford to do it, this is the perfect time to do it, because used cars in terms of their value may never be this high again, right? If you want to upgrade and you have something you're sitting on, now may be the perfect time to do it. So there you have it. Those are 5 reasons why I bought a Tesla and why I think you should buy one too. I've had that car for about a month now. I'm probably going to make more videos on this topic if this video does well. So if you did like the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you loved it, consider subscribing. I plan on doing more content regarding Teslas and other stuff like my travels and my time here in LA. I know I've been kind of sleepy on creating content, but owning this Model 3 has now really woken me up to the possibilities of creating other stuff. So I hope to see you in my next video. See ya.